Welcome back to the channel, sailors, and in this episode of As We See It, it's travel day. So it's Friday, the day has finally come, it's travel day, and after work today, we are heading to London's Heathrow Airport. The first part of our trip is an overnight flight to Dubai on Emirates Airlines. When we land, we will then be taken to the cruise port, and we'll join MSC's newest ship, World Europa, for a 7-night Persian Gulf cruise. As well as working today and undertaking the final pieces of packing for our trip, it was time early afternoon to head out on the Underground and take the Victoria line followed by the Piccadilly line out to Heathrow Terminals 1, 2 and 3. Now, not much happened on the journey. I was still working and putting together emails that I needed to send for events that are happening after we get back. What seemed like 10 minutes but had been 30, we arrived at the airport's Underground station.
Hey there, it's travel day and we're at Heathrow Airport Terminal 3. Just about to go through security, so we'll see you on the other side.
The airport was busy and we had to check in again and get a bag tag at a self-service kiosk, then go and queue up, only to find out we had to then do the same procedures yet again, which seemed really pointless. After this we went straight through to departures. We grabbed some shopping from Boots and wandered around duty free before heading to a lounge to wait until it was time to head away for our flight. It was a strange flight. It was supposed to be just over 7 hours, although it seemed to go really quickly. We were about 1 hour in and the first service started, which was a meal of either chicken or beef. Paul had the chicken and I opted for the beef. The good thing on Emirates is that you can find the menu on their app, which you can use free on the Wi-Fi on board. So for your information, the Wi-Fi is not free throughout the whole trip, it's just free for checking the menu or anything on their app. but it would be better if you could also pull the menu up on the media on the back of your seat. The selection of movies was adequate, but nothing popped out that we hadn't watched before. I put on The Lost City because I thought might as well get a bit of Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock before I fall asleep on this overnight flight. The food was surprisingly okay and we swapped dishes from each other's trays as normal. The movie then finished and I opened Solitaire on my iPad mini to play a couple of games. I then tried to doze off, but it wasn't possible. I really couldn't get comfortable. When you recline the seats, the people behind you basically get trapped into their seat and then the screen touches the table, makes you feel rather claustrophobic. I decided that I'd recline slightly and try to stretch my legs out. There was no one in the seat in front, but the couple with the kid next to them, those seats stretched out a bit and then went into that chair and then reclined it and then didn't sit in it. I think all in all I got 1.5 hours of normal sleep because everything else was just interrupted. It wasn't just going to happen, and the woman next to me, albeit about 5'0", was fighting in her chair and stealing the armrest and then sitting at weird angles and kept banging me without apologising, so I was getting really annoyed. She even then decided to put her headphones on my chair when I went to the toilet whilst she then slept. So what I did is decided to take them out of their socket and I put them on the floor. Good luck trying to find them afterwards, honey. We were then fed some breakfast about 2 or so hours before landing. It was some cherry pie thing that I didn't have as I really despise cherry. I was then given a blueberry muffin. We watched the video images on our seat backs of the plane landing, which was really quite spectacular, particularly at certain points, especially when we flew through the clouds. It was then time to disembark. Dubai is quite a big airport, so after leaving the plane you go through a security point, then you have to board a small train to then get to luggage claim. The train ride is approximately 3 minutes, and then you have to queue for passport control. This took about 10 minutes, but wasn't as bad as you would have thought with the large aircraft's landing. They did have a lot of desks open. Paul was then given a free 1GB data SIM card which you could use. My person wasn't really paying much attention and seemed bored, so check the passport, take your picture, and then I was told to go. Paul's took a little bit longer because he has recessed eyes, so he was told to keep his eyes open. The guy then got frustrated with him and made him change counters. I waited by the baggage claim and then we went to head to the loo before our bags got out. We then headed to find the MSC rep to get our transfer to the ship. There was a Starbucks at the airport, so Paul quickly checked in to see if they had the World Series cups. They did have them, but they didn't have all 5, they only had 3, so he got the ones that he needed. We found the MSC rep, we then had to get our luggage labels out of our bags and then used the sellotape we bought at Heathrow to stick on our tags. We got on the bus, which was stifling hot as they hadn't turned on the air conditioning. There was a lot of people coughing on the bus and it was getting close to the point of thinking mask wearing is going to return. The bus was full and started off towards the port. Paul had to ask about 2 minutes into the journey to the driver to put on the air because the windows were steaming up. As soon as the air came on, there was a massive cheer across the bus and people were clapping. It took about 30 minutes to get to the port. Our luggage would be taken care of and straight onto the ship, which was good. We just had to go inside and to the check-in desk for the final preparations. That was quite quick and painless, and then it was time to board.
Here we are, people. We have arrived in Dubai. We are just about to head on board the MSC World Europa. Just click the camera around.
We boarded MSC World Europa around 10:30 AM. We were then told we would need to wait until around 2 PM that afternoon to get to our rooms. We went to the buffet to get a cup of tea. We then had to re-register our credit cards against the room on their stupid system because we had done it online, but for some reason it just didn't hold it. We were quite tired from the flight, and also everywhere was just so noisy with kids screaming, parents letting them run amok. We needed to find a quiet area. We thought, why not head down to see the room and speak to our attendant so maybe we could just drop off our bags. He was there and our room was ready, so he allowed us to use a cabin straight away. Our stateroom is a junior suite in the Aurora Experience. It's on deck 9 midship and our room number is 9157. A full room tour video is available. Depending on what device you're watching on, it may be a card in the top right hand corner, or you can find the link in the video description. We will pick you up a little bit later because after that flight we do need 40 winks.
A few hours later.
We woke around 1:30 PM. We sorted ourselves out, went in search of something to eat. We walked around the World Galleria Promenade and settled on getting something from the new pizza and burger menu. What a joke. It's a great venue, just the food was cold, it had been sitting for a long time, none of the food was really hot. They might as well make the burgers to order because they have chefs around, but everything is made, put in a warming drawer and then put into the cabinets while the stocks get low. The only decent thing was the onion rings because they were just made. The mac and cheese was just penny pasta with cheese sauce. They couldn't even get that right, and they're supposedly an Italian family-run ship. Whilst we were here, there was an announcement that we had to go back to our cabins to do the mandatory muster drill. So since the pandemic, most other cruise lines have it down that you watch the safety video on their app or your stateroom TV, then you head to your muster point as soon as you board, so you get this out of the way, not on here. But instead of going to somewhere on the ship, you have to go to your room at a designated time. Then you wait for the video to play, dial a number to say you've watched it, and then you go to your muster station. Now with a large capacity ship, this meant that it got really congested in areas. Also, MSC are like floating ferries, they pick up passengers in most ports, so muster drills happen nearly everywhere you go. You wouldn't mind, but this does take staff away from their stations, which means they have to close some of the places on board, and this can be really annoying for guests as you're trying to enjoy your vacation. I guess the only blessing to this is that you don't have to sit in a room somewhere on the ship and wait for them to do the announcement in 7 languages before you're dismissed. After visiting our muster station, which was the World Theatre, we went for another look around the ship. This is where things became really congested, because people were trying to find their muster stations and they were just right in the walkways. The World Galleria on MSC World Europa is on 3 levels, and it's either restaurants or shops, but you can't tell if you're on a cruise ship or in a European shopping mall. We then headed over to the spa because our junior suite is an Aurora experience. This allows us spa access daily to the thermal suite, so we wanted to see what facilities it had. I was told you're not allowed to film due to guests, but you know me, once inside afterwards, I was then able to film the various places that we can use on the spa as long as there was no one inside them or they didn't mind being on the film. After our tour, we booked to come down to use the area, went back up to the room to get our swimmers, we changed and then went back down to the thermal spa where we relaxed for the next couple of hours. Just what the body needed after the flight and the very busy week that we've had. So we'll pick you up a little bit later this evening, just before we go for dinner. After the thermal suite at the spa, it was time to head back up to the room to get ready for dinner. For those booked on the Aurora package, you have dinner at the Las Dunas restaurant. We asked if we could have a seat in the area outside of the restaurant overlooking the World Galleria. It's always nice to people watch, but it was quite noisy with music and noise bleeding through from other areas. Here's the menu for the restaurant. If you would like to see it in full, just press pause on the video. Paul had the aubergine parmigiana for starters and the leg of lamb for mains. For my starter, I had the fire roasted tomato cream soup and the grilled ribeye steak for mains. We skipped dessert. As always, the food in MSC is quite bland. It's edible but not memorable. It can also be hit or miss in terms of if it's going to be tepid or cold. We have a replenished package for drinks, so this gives us soft drinks, water, specialty teas and coffees. The good thing is you can ask any bar or restaurant for water to take away and they give it to you. We took a couple of waters back up to the room and then went for a wander around, especially heading towards the MSC logo shop to see how much the model of the ship was. We walked around the shop to see what was on offer. They have a good selection of Lego and Playmobil, how naughty. We took a look at the price of the MSC Lego ship, which has gone down by €5 to $14.95. We had a look to see if they had any t-shirts, polos or baseball caps with the ship's logo on it, but nothing. They had a really poor selection of t-shirts. MSC World Europa, unlike the other MSC ships, doesn't have Swarovski crystal staircases in the main ship. They have one apparently in Yacht Club. They do have a large Swarovski Crystal Chandelier instead, but it doesn't have the same appeal as the stairs. We then took a walk out into the World Promenade. For those of you who've been on a Royal Caribbean Oasis class ship, this is similar to the boardwalk. You have the Venom Drop dry slide in the middle, there's a coffee shop, a fish restaurant, a cigar lounge and Sweet Temptations where you can buy some tasty ice cream flavoured treats. We went into Sweet Temptations, I got a vanilla ice cream covered in chocolate and then 3 toppings. I chose a mixed chocolate shavings, jelly beans and salted caramel balls. Paul had a vanilla milkshake. My ice lolly cost around €5.30, the milkshake was €7. Out of the two, the ice lolly was certainly the better value for money and for taste. We then took the panoramic lift up to the Zen bar on deck 18 to go outside and see what the upstairs area was like, and it was just a lot of dead space. The bar was quite small, the area to the right and left had seats and lots of people smoking or vaping, and then it was just an expanse of dead space with no one on it. We looked up at the start of the Venom Drop slide one deck up, and it was just a massive snake's head with the mouth and tongue being the start of the tunnel of the drop. It doesn't have the same pizzazz as the Ultimate Abyss on Royal Caribbean. I took a look at the very small Sportsplex, which is located at the top at the back. This is really small compared to the one on MSC's Blisman Virtuosa. It's where they do the bumper cars, which cost €5 per car, and they're designed like Formula 1 go-karts. The gym is also in this area, but it was closed so I was unable to film it. It was then time to head back down to the lower decks. We went down to deck 6 and we went into the Jean-Philippe chocolate factory. You can see the lighthouse, fish and other various decorations all carved out of chocolate. It was then time to go back to the room and wait for sail away, which we'd wanted to watch from our balcony. You will see various parts of the Dubai skyline as we set sail, and we headed out into the Persian Gulf. There was also this really funky tower block built on the marina. We were both knackered at this point, and it was really time to climb into bed and go to dreamland. We'll pick you up again in the morning. Tomorrow we're going to port in Abu Dhabi. We're heading out to Yas Island to visit one of the 4 theme parks. Tune in tomorrow to find out which one. Good night, stay safe, thanks for watching.